There is a shark that has existed for 125 million years, and until very recently, no human had ever seen one alive in its own world. Not once. Every living goblin shark anyone had ever laid eyes on had been dragged up on a fishing line, brought to a surface it wasn't built for, and it died shortly afterward. That's how little we knew. And then a camera sitting nearly 2,000 meters down in one of the deepest trenches on Earth caught something moving through the dark. Stay with me, because what the footage revealed didn't just show us a rare animal. It told scientists they'd been wrong about where this creature even lives. Let's start with what a goblin shark actually is, because it's genuinely one of the strangest animals on this planet. Its scientific name is Mitsukurina ostoni, and it is the last surviving member of a shark family that goes back roughly 125 million years. Every other species in its lineage is extinct. This one is still here. Scientists call animals like this living fossils, and in this case the label is earned. When the ancestors of this shark were swimming, dinosaurs were still walking around above the waterline. Whole continents have rearranged themselves since. And this animal has just kept going, largely unchanged, in water so deep that almost nothing disturbs it. And then there's how it looks. There's really no polite way to put this. Coverage of the footage has described it as horror movie-like, and one headline called it the ugliest shark on the planet. It has a long, flattened snout that protrudes far out in front of its head like a blade. Its body is soft and flabby rather than sleek. Its skin has a pinkish, almost translucent quality because at those depths there's no reason to have pigment. Nothing down there can see you anyway, but the snout isn't decoration, and neither is the thing it can do with its jaws. Here's the part that makes this animal genuinely remarkable. Most sharks have jaws that are relatively fixed in place. The goblin shark's jaws can shoot forward, out of its face, in a motion researchers have compared to a slingshot. Think about what problem that solves. This shark is not fast. It's soft-bodied, it lives in cold, dark, food-scarce water, and chasing prey costs energy it can't spare, so instead of pursuing anything, it drifts. And when something edible comes within range, the jaws launch forward and grab it before the prey has any idea what's happening. Fish, squid, whatever passes close enough. It's an ambush, powered by anatomy rather than speed. And that long snout is packed with sensors that detect the faint electrical signals given off by other living things, which is how it finds anything at all in total darkness. So we understood roughly how it worked. What nobody had was a look at one behaving naturally. Here's the problem researchers faced. Every single confirmed observation of a living goblin shark came after the animal had been hooked and hauled to the surface. And an animal built for that depth does not survive being brought up. The pressure change alone is catastrophic. So every glimpse we had was of a dying creature, an environment that was killing it. Imagine trying to understand how a bird flies by only ever seeing injured ones on the ground. That's roughly where the science was. Then two things happened, years apart. In 2019, a camera mounted on a remotely operated vehicle called Hercules recorded something at an unnamed seamount northwest of Jarvis Island in the Central Pacific, at around 1,237 meters down. And in 2024, during an expedition aboard a research vessel, a baited camera sitting on the seafloor in the Tonga Trench filmed another one. That individual, which researchers suspect was female, didn't approach the bait. It simply moved across the frame, long enough for scientists to get a proper look at it, alive and healthy, doing nothing more remarkable than existing. The findings were published in the Journal of Fish Biology, led by researchers from the University of Hawaii at Manoa alongside the Minderoo University of Western Australia Deep Sea Research Centre. And the reaction from the scientists involved says a lot. Professor Alan Jamieson, who directs at Research Center, said he never thought he'd see one alive. He described it as the most bizarre animal, and admitted plainly that we know virtually nothing about them. The lead author, Aaron Judah, called seeing the most iconic deep-sea shark alive and healthy in its natural habitat a unique honor. That's not the language of routine data collection. That's people who got something they'd assumed they'd never get. But here's why this matters far beyond the novelty of the footage. The Tonga Trench sighting was at roughly 1,997 meters. That is around 700 meters deeper than any goblin shark had ever been recorded before. It also extends the known depth range for its entire order of sharks. And the location matters just as much as the depth. Goblin sharks had previously been recorded only in fairly narrow patches, parts of the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, small areas off the western United States, Australia, Japan. The specimen record was extremely sparse. These new sightings push the known range far out into the Central Pacific. So this animal lives deeper than we thought, and across a much wider stretch of ocean than we thought. Now here's the practical consequence, and it's the part one find genuinely important. Judah made a point about why this kind of basic natural history work still matters. Because of these observations, the goblin shark can now be included in regional management plans and in a nation's biodiversity records. Before this, nobody knew it was even there. Think about that. You cannot protect an animal you don't know exists in your waters. Conservation decisions, fishing regulations, deep-sea mining assessments, all of it depends on knowing what actually lives in a place. An animal that isn't on the list simply isn't considered. So to brief video clips, captured 5 years apart, changed the official status of a species across an entire region of ocean. And that leads to the thought I want to leave you with. This is a large predator. It's not microscopic, it's not obscure to specialists, and it's been known to science for over a century. It has captured people's imagination for decades. And yet until now, nobody had seen one going about its life. If that's true of a shark this famous, consider what else is down there. The deep ocean is the largest living space on this planet, and we have direct observations of a vanishingly small fraction of it. There are almost certainly animals living in that darkness right now that no camera has ever pointed at. The goblin shark spent 125 million years without being watched. It took us until now to get a proper look, and it was just drifting there in the dark, the way it always has been, long before anyone existed to be curious about it. If this fascinated you, hit that like button and subscribe to Wild Codex, because we uncover the untold stories of Earth's most fascinating creatures. And tell me in the comments, what deep-sea animal would you most want to see filmed alive for the first time? I'd love to hear it. See you in the next one. Here is the link